Oh, Sean Stone's here. Yo, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
Hey,
Who
how
we
you
got here?
doing? Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to Warski Live. I'm
Of course.
Angie, and of
And
course, Jay is the one who invited you. How you doing?
I'm really good. How are you guys today?
Excellent, excellent. We were
Excellent. We've been cutting up talking about Eyes Wide Shut parties, and we were wondering whether Louis Anderson got invited to any Eyes Wide Shut parties.
Who is Louis Anderson? I went to
The,
I went to elementary school with a guy named Joey Anderson.
the like the 500-600 pound comedian Louis Anderson.
You remember him? Here, I'll show you.
No,
I'll
who is
show you a
that?
picture. I mean,
He,
well, I'm gonna assume
he's
since
in
you don't
baskets
know.
now with Zach Galifianakis.
Okay, so why are you obsessed with Eyes Wide Shut parties? I don't get it.
We were just curious. I mean, like,
No,
I'm
we were just
sure
cutting up.
everyone's really curious about those parties. You know, the
You can just buy your way in, man. They've got these sex parties you can buy in to. What are they called? You know, they're a big thing in Hollywood. The Chateau and places like that. You can tickets. You know.
with just tickets, so you don't have to really even be in Hollywood. You could just sort of just
Well,
like visit and pay someone off and go, "Yo, I want to head there."
it's not paying anyone off. It's just they sell tickets because it's like a sex party. You know, you can buy your way in. It's always been about money. As far as like sex is concerned, that's what prostitution like prostitution's the oldest profession in the book for a reason.
Isn't there like a section for like maybe actors who don't want to really be, known for going there, like an area in the back? You know what I'm
Well,
talking
yeah,
about?
I'm sure there is. I mean, there's what is this thing called? I'm blanking on the name. It's famous.
I want to invite.
Anyway, I have to look it up. So yeah, I'm sure there's like different, you can wear masks, or there's different parts that are like more, you pay to get like uh, to have more privacy. But yeah, I mean, it's not like it's there's always, yeah, Hollywood sex parties is not like that big of a secret.
Right, but I mean, you would agree that Kubrick influenced your film, certainly in some degree. But I mean, Kubrick is telling us about
Which
something more
film?
than just your film, Fury of the Fist, right? I mean, there's like strange love references.
Oh, there is a strange. Yeah, you did catch a strange love reference.
Right.
But
So, but what
yeah,
I'm saying is that, I mean, Kubrick is telling us about something beyond just, like a typical orgy. I mean, everybody knows orgies happen, but I mean, isn't there something even maybe higher level that does connect to like maybe A-list actors? I mean, isn't that what Eyes Wide Shut's kind of getting at?
Eyes Wide Shut was based on what, a novel, a novella.
Yeah, trauma
And
novella. Yeah.
yeah, which more about the dreamlike quality, right, of love and relationships. And I never read the novella. Actually, I would be curious to read. But I think what Kubrick was getting at, as far as the power structure was concerned, yeah, had to do with this idea of um, intimidation and blackmail. Right, that was the
Yeah.
whole point. Was that basically these people are going to sex parties, but at the same time, there's an in factor to it. You're in the club, but then beyond that, if you are not welcome or invited, or if you, let's say, maybe go outside of the boundaries when it comes to politics, there's ways of blackmailing you,
Right.
whether it has to do with sex tapes or even intimidation, and including murder. That's what you saw in Eyes Wide Shut, the potential that this girl was murdered, to basically prove the point of, she stood up for Cruz when he came there and violated the sanctity of the realm. She's the one that helped him, so she was killed for that. On the other hand, it was the factor of, hey, we're sending a message here that it's not hard to make people disappear or die. And again, I don't have any experience of that, but I'm sure that's what Kubrick was intuiting. Whether he actually experienced it or not, I don't know. Could have. He probably at least heard stories about these things,
Right.
but I don't know exactly his history and where precisely that came from.
Yeah, and like books like the Franklin Cover Up, that will distill the idea of the blackmail aspect of things. So we were just talking about that before you hopped on, actually, that there's a big blackmail component to it that kind of ensures that people stay in line.
Sure, sure, I would think so. But no, I mean, as far as like, sex parties, I'm sure that most parties are just, they're sexual by nature as far as partying and clubbing is concerned. Most of the time it's about getting laid. So there, sex parties are sex parties, but when it comes to this idea of like more secretive, Masonic type of parties, yeah, I'm sure they exist, and, almost positive, but I can't say from my own experience what that's like.
Yeah, well, I saw like a bunch of your videos talking about movies having the like Illuminati symbolism in there. Would this be like somewhat attached to that like possible conspiracy, if you know what I mean?
Wait, so which is attached to it?
Like you were talking about the Illuminati sort of having symbolism in certain movies. You were talking about Logan and some other movies having that symbolism. Do you think that those types of parties that go deeper than regular sex parties, that go more into a cultish or creepy type thing, might be attached to that symbolism?
It's not about being attached to symbolism. I don't believe the Illuminati is what people think it is. I mean, there are many secret societies, and many of which we don't even know their names, let's say. But what it boils down to, we talk about Illuminati, I think has more to do with third eye open awareness of a galactic game that's going on here. Let's say there's spiritual warfare, for lack of a better word, spiritual psychological warfare, and we're all party to this matrix. So those who are more because of past life soul journeys and different levels within the spiritual, let's say, like hierarchy, those who have like lived and experienced more and learned and had more wisdom as a result, might be more illuminated and might be channeling, for example, as most artists will tell you that they do. When you're in the process of creation, you're channeling, whether you're painting or composing or writing or directing, whatever it is, acting, you're channeling spirits. And that's a big aspect of what illumination and Illuminati are about, is actually like spiritual intuition and spiritual downloading. So when it comes to like, when I talk about symbolism in movies, symbols in movies and representations, it's not to say that like people that are doing it even know what they're doing. They don't necessarily understand what they're doing, but they are channeling and working through a universal consciousness that expresses the universal consciousness that expresses itself through us as individuals, as creators.
So let me ask you a question on that point. So when I'm watching Fury of the Fist, like when the first 5 minutes we're seeing Danny Trejo and you're facing off, and you've got the Mexican flag in the background, and there are, pretty clearly sort of the Wayjot, the all-seeing eye of Egypt there on the flag. I'm just curious. I mean, that had to be conscious.
Yeah.
But why is it on the Mexican flag? That's what's
okay. Well, that was a conscious decision. I actually heard about, because in that case, I know the director is a Mason, so he wanted to put that there. Again, when it comes to like something like that, I can tell you, yeah, it's because he's a Mason and he's aware of certain symbolism. But I can't speak for something right across the board. Like people like my father putting things in movies that you might say are, MK Ultra mind control or reminiscent of, Greek initiatory experiences. I don't know if that's because I'm pretty sure he's not a Mason, but it might have more to do with like his intuition and meditation and even past life experiences and such and dreams.
Was there a relationship though was it specifically on the Mexican flag though for an intentional purpose, or was it just kind of stuck there in the background?
Well, he wanted to put it there in the porn. It's basically there's a porn scene going on, right? That's the whole point. And Trejo's Danny's being like a famous Mexican actor. He wanted to put the Mexican flag in there. So I guess he was playing with this whole idea about like, again, like Illuminati overseeing countries and the porn industry.
Exactly.
So that, you know, that's what I could speak to, but I can't tell you exactly. Maybe he had a vision of it or an intuition to do that.
Well, so Don Fry, then I loved his rant about the CIA and cocaine. That was so, because we were just talking before you hopped on, we were talking about the CIA importing cocaine, but here's UFC like legend is like ranting about the CIA bringing in coke.
Well,
hello.
Sorry, I lost you there. Yeah, you're saying the UFC legend.
So so Don Fry playing Willie. So you get this UFC legend, and he's like just going. He basically yells every line, which I thought was hilarious. Every line in his film is yelled. All right, and so he's going into this rant about, you know, the CIA bringing in cocaine and Iran Contra type references, which is accurate, but you know he's kind of portrayed as this sort of bizarro, you know, maybe is he a vet? Maybe, you know, he's like losing it, right?
All right, so two things. One, so that dialogue was mine. Most of his rants were based on dialogue that I wanted to incorporate, including the Federal Reserve stuff. Yeah. But he then went off, like Don just like took it to another level entirely. I mean, when we write in the page, it's funny, but then when he starts yelling it and saying it with so much enthusiasm, and it gets cut together, it becomes even more insane. Not in a bad sense, just like it was almost like this was shot before Trump and his rallies, but after the fact, you're like, this could totally be like a Trump supporter. You know, he'd be branded as an alt-right guy. So two things. First, I invited Roddy Piper, who played in They Live, to play that role, and he was on board, and he passed away literally the month we were going to start shooting. So that was really a huge, personality to fill his shoes, right? This great actor, and all the dialogue was just like, it was tailor-made for him. So after he passed away, I actually reached out to Alex Jones and asked Alex to play the role. And Alex was going through his divorce proceedings and all that, and custody battles, and he's like, "Nah, it's not a good look for me, and I can't do it." So I said, "Shoot, what?" I was introduced to Don Fry, and we're like, "Well, maybe Don can do this because he's got the look, and he's definitely like that macho male. And if you watch him in the ring, you know that he can bring it." So we gave him the dialogue, and he's not really like a trained actor in any sense, but he got it, like on an intuitive level. He just got the dialogue, and he understood what we were saying, and he went from there. So he even, like, some of the rants about the Chinese and stuff, and this is the greatest country in the world. I even remember, like, some of the dialogue was just his, like, he literally just owned it and started ad-libbing stuff about, his cat getting stuck in the dryer and going round and round, or he threw his fridge out the window. I mean, just funny stuff that he came up with in the moment. He was, he really sunk his teeth into the role.
Yeah, I thought that he was clearly an Alex Jones-esque character, and I wondered if maybe that's who you designed, for that kind of a rant, because it just seems so Alex. And but I do want to ask you too about, you're talking about this sort of esoteric elements of the film, and I think the most obvious one that kind of sticks out, I don't want to ruin it, but it's kind of a quest, right? It's kind of a Golden Fleece quest, and I'm assuming maybe that you read that in like an alchemical sense of like what's been lost is manhood, and then manhood is being restored.
Yeah, well, exactly. The quest for the Golden Fleece. I mean, most people won't understand the mythological symbolism. Obviously, you have to read like Gilgamesh. You have to read, into like Hercules and his labors and Jason, and actually Hercules was part of the Argos, that whole expedition for the fleece. So most people won't get it. Most people will be like, I don't understand this movie. But I'm like, okay, put that aside. Understand that on an intuitive level, what we're seeing, as you said, is a man who's basically basically was transformed when he received this gold fleece and gave him mojo, symbolized by his, giant green cucumber. Read, by the way, Horus, who was given a golden phallus, right? Because he didn't actually.
Was that designed for me, by the way? Was that role?
Maybe that's you.
And then you had to fill it in because of the giant dick. No, I'm joking.
Everyone can read into it. That's what I love about this movie. I asked people after, like, what character did you like? Because you can go across the whole spectrum of like personalities and find out what people relate with, because we have all these different characters who represent all different archetypes, right? From like pure madness to like, to macho, manhood to like, wicked, twisted witches. I mean, just so many different characters that come along the way. The pimp, the Albanian. I mean,
Count Chocula, right?
Yeah, Count Chocula. Yeah, Count Chocula / Blackula. I mean, there's so many characters, but when it comes to like the symbolism was, yes, it's basically a guy who was down and out, lost his manhood, lost his testosterone, his will, in a sense, even, for sleep, for sex or fighting, anything. It's like he has to build it back as he goes through this journey, basically of first in self-defense, but ultimately he becomes more proactive. But ultimately the point is not, yes, the Golden Fleece is symbolic, right? When he gets his mojo, he gets the Golden Fleece. But at that point, he realizes, I don't need that anymore. It was always within me. If I had just understood, I don't need the accoutrements. It's not about the vest that's, the honors, the medals that are given to you. It's about having that strength and power within.
So the premise, though, is you've got the loss of masculinity, and the villain, the antagonist, is intentionally kind of messing with the food and giving everybody estrogen in the food to destroy manhood. I thought was very poignant. I thought that was, because that's essentially real. I do a lot of lectures and talks about Bertrand Russell, who in his writings, Impact of Science on Society, Scientific Outlook, he literally says that's what needs to happen to the food to destroy masculinity. Exactly.
And the point is that, I heard one reviewer saying this movie is toxic. It's poisonous for kids because it's showing all the worst of like macho male chauvinism.
Right.
And I'm like, well, first of all, it's a satire, so relax. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a comedy. We're not saying that like you have to fight your way through life, but its symbolic sense, it absolutely is about the fact that yes, manhood is under scrutiny and attack, and it's like, what is it to be a man? Because at the end of the day, I guarantee you, you may say you don't like this character, or women may say like, oh, he's offensive. But they're also attracted to it because pheromonally, women like a strong, male who's assertive and who's, who protects you. And men also want to be that guy. So we may in our minds say this is everything we're not supposed to like anymore. But from a pheromonal, biological, instinctive level, I think that people can like the fist, both male and female, be attracted to it.
But do you think that people honestly believe that we shouldn't like this type of character? Like the alpha male, do you like? It's pretty obvious that a woman, even if she's like super feminist and toxic masculinity, she will go for the alpha male any day of the week, right? And then,
right?
Yeah. But I mean, they're trying to make us think in our minds like, oh, this is bad. But in the end of the day, who are they going home with? The guy who's like, okay, baby, sure. Like, it's just. That's funny that you're bringing that up. Do you see that like a lot right now with the culture? I see like a lot of movies and shows, commercials, what have you, sort of pushing this. I don't want to say like straight up anti-male, but anti-masculine type vibe that no one is really buying, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is that I'm in favor of like a strong male, like a strong male energy. It doesn't mean you have to be overly aggressive, overly pushy. Oftentimes it's the passive aggressive ones that are the more dangerous. They become like the psycho shooter types, right? Or the guy that hits you, stabs you in the back. I mean, the fist doesn't go out there and pick fights with people. He's there to defend and protect, right? And basically, like he protects his turf, he protects people around him, close to him, and he takes the fight only when where it needs to be taken. And at the end, he's not beating up women; he's sleeping with them. So I don't know. I mean, it's like I don't see him as like some kind of bully type, right? And this is what we have issue with. Yeah, like, I'm not in favor of bullies. I'm not in favor of guys, who are just trying to like assert themselves because they're insecure. It should come from a place of respect. At the same time, like, you don't, respect me and as a man, and I'll respect you, as whatever you are, man, woman, transvestite. I don't care what you are, but just, we should respect each other as people.
Yeah. Well, I think again, the problem is people hear or try to hear masculine And then in their mind, it's the guy, like the bully, the dude who's like, and then like knocking people out, being an asshole to everyone. When that's not what masculinity is. That's called being an asshole. That's called being a douche. That's like assuming like the female energy is being a bitch and a hoe or something. That's not what that is. That's
exactly
the exaggerated version. But yeah, that's cool that you think that way too. Because I'm just so over this anti-male, or like the commercials that make the dude always the idiot. Like, hey, remember to cook, like a dinner for the kids. Oh, he messed up dinner because he's an idiot, right?
We were talking about that earlier, and you remember you mentioned Tim Allen, Andy, and I was thinking actually that was kind of the premise of his old show. Remember, he's like a complete buffoon, that stupid comic routine. But so he's actually changed his view too, because now he's like very critical of that mindset. But Home Improvement was all about him being this completely milquetoast, run by his wife situation.
Was he? But at least he knew how to fix stuff. I mean, he did. He had his own. He was Tim the Tool Man. I mean, he knew how to fix things, even if. And let's be honest, there's nothing wrong with being, having a strong wife at your side. I have no issue with that. I mean, that's kind of like the pun in the movie, is like the witches are kind of behind the man in the movie, and we all know strong women are behind every great man. I take no issue with that. I think it's wonderful. I mean,
speaking of strong women, can the entire Van Damme family do the splits? Can Van Damme's grandma do the splits? It's like they all can do that.
Bianca is an amazing specimen. I mean, what a beautiful girl, sense of humor, talented, and can do the helicopter kick. I mean, come on, she's incredible.
Is that what like the premise? Like you came up with the movie was to show a masculine dude and bring that energy back and make it positive? Is that where you?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking, man. That was 7 years ago. Like I didn't even know this was coming. The whole Me Too thing, and the whole. You realize that, like, I hate to say it. I mean, it sounds racist, but I'm like, being a white male right now is like the most uncool thing on the planet. I mean, it's just like. I mean,
it's all relative, I guess, right?
Like what's in, right? It's like, this is not the 80s, man. It's like so I'm going totally against the grain in a sense. But again, it's like I'm just trying to draw upon mythology to create this Fist character. I mean, it took me a while to embrace the Fist myself. When I first heard the Fist, I was like, that just sounds stupid. Alex, the director, my co-writer, Alex Wraith, he was like, yeah, I have this vision of a man. Like, I guess he channeled this. He's like, I have a vision of a guy who's like lion's mane hair and a white tank top and super tight jeans with a cucumber and cowboy boots. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm like, that's just silly. I'm not that guy. And then it can't, like, it just kind of, I embraced it. I'm like, yeah, why not? Why can't I be that guy? Why can't all of us be that guy? Isn't that the point, that we want to be like that sort of like that hero in our own mind, in our own world, in our own life? We want to play that role of hero. So I embraced it, and I guess it became this sort of, this 80s action hero, and homage to everyone from Swayze to Van Damme, Stallone, Schwarzenegger. But I grew up watching those guys. I was like, that was what a man should be. Now I don't know what men should be. Maybe I can offer some, through a character like this, maybe I can offer some little glimpse of, hope for young men, and being like, yeah, I want to be like him. I want to be like Sean. He seems like he's balanced. I'm not, hopefully not like over, intellectual or overly aggressive and barbaric in either way. I just feel like I'm a pretty balanced person, and hopefully giving a good example for young men of finding that balance between, sexuality, aggression, intellect, rationality, being a protector, like a nice balance of alpha. Alpha is it can be a bad term, but if it's over aggressive, I think alpha should become like the positive side of alpha, is someone like the Fist.
Yeah, well, alpha used to mean you went out and you brought back food for everyone, right? Now alpha is being portrayed as, the guy who beats up people for no reason. Like I don't see any man out there. Like you said, like what does it mean to be a man? And you're just saying like the way the media has portrayed men for so long, you don't even know. You're like, is that offensive? Is that not offensive? Is that okay? But who's out there? What kind of man is out there? Like, yeah, I'll be a little bit more beta today. Yeah, I'm gonna beta up myself. I'm gonna bow my head to people. No, I hear you, dude.
Right. Yeah,
I liked your '80s references. You were talking about the action heroes, and I mean, there's some '70s guys in there too. Like you have the Charlton Heston references with Soylent Green is made from people. That was a prevalent thing.
That. Right? There's Sonny Chiba. Sonny Chiba is probably my favorite martial arts guy. Like Toshida Mifune is my favorite actor of all time, I have to say. And you definitely got like a little bit of the Bronson character. But Sonny Chiba was the guy that we wanted to model the fist on in particular. Because Sonny Chiba was like Bruce Lee on steroids.
Yeah, I have two old VHS of Sonny Chiba.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's out of his mind. Like the guy's just like, he's like a wild animal when he fights. And we wanted to like play with that a little bit for some of the scenes, especially when we literally took one of the scenes from one of his Street Fighter movies where they're playing with dolls and they're using like these little dolls to create a plan of action for how they're going to infiltrate the enemy's building at the end of the compound. They have little G.I. Joe dolls like this big, and they're like, you will parachute here, and then he will climb there. And I was like, that's genius. We have to have a scene with dolls where they're orchestrating their plan with Barbie dolls and Godzilla and action figures.
That's cool, dude.
What was it like giving Richard Grieco a swirly?
What does that mean? When did I give him a swirly? In the toilet? In the toilet? We didn't really put his head in the toilet, I'll tell you that much. Jesus, could you imagine? Ugh. Grieco was the most fun. That was the toughest scene to film in a way because I couldn't keep a straight face. If you notice, my eyes are really moist. I look like I'm crying. Yeah. I was laughing. I was laughing so hard I was crying because between Grieco's mustache and his accent, imagine the testosterone here of like 4 guys in a circle and 8 guys in a bathroom together. It's just too much. Talking about this, all these gay implications. You got a nice smile and they're all in the bathroom together. It's just like it was just too funny.
Sounds like a regular Tuesday to me, right, Jay?
Absolutely.
In the comic book store on top of it.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. Yeah. Do you want to tell people like I have your links down there to your channel and your Twitter, but I know your movie's on limited release right now, right? How would people go ahead and find the movie to watch in their area or maybe a VOD or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's on demand, it's online. I would say the best is to put the link for the website.
Okay, cool.
Fury of the Fist Movie. Perfect. Yeah, furyofthefistmovie.com because that has all the links. It's on Google Play, it's on Amazon, it's on iTunes, on demand, on Steam. It's got 6-7 different streaming sources so people can like download it or buy it. Yeah. If they love it, buy it, torture your friends with it, make your friends come over on Friday night and do like fucking midnight movie style. That's what I would do. I mean,
I heard Logan Paul went to your premiere. Is this a true story?
Yeah, he showed up with Timok from Last Dragon, and I go, Logan, what do you think of Last Dragon? He's like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, get out of here. You haven't seen Last Dragon? You got to watch The Last Dragon, first of all. That's called Classic 101.
Yeah.
How was it? Did you speak to him? Did you meet him?
Yeah, so I'm saying I asked him about, I'm like, did you get to watch Last Dragon yet? He hasn't watched it. And I guess he's training for some kind of fight. See, like now, like in the old days, it was all about, fighting in the streets and having showdowns in the streets. Now it's like YouTube battles. So I understand Logan's gearing up for a YouTube battle. I'm like, what is this stuff? YouTube battles, YouTube fights. They calling each other out on YouTube. I'm like, man, I feel like in 10 years you're gonna see gangsters being on like YouTube and Twitter and stuff. that's where the turf wars are gonna be. They're gonna be online. It's gonna be crazy.
Well, it's insane how back in the day, like talking to an actor or a filmmaker was impossible, And now you could tweet them anything. You could imagine being able to tweet Frank Sinatra, "Hey, you're an asshole," or "Your last song sucked, dude." And Sinatra quote tweeting.
You better be fit, man. You got to be fit in this day and age. People are calling you out left and right. You be like, "Listen, show up to the ring. We'll go 12 rounds. Show up."
Well, Andy, you've already been there with like Kumite and people trying to arrange actual fights from internet blood sports, right?
Yeah, that was a big thing where every third person, we want to fight in real life. No real fights have actually came out of them. Unfortunately, I think that would be fun and interesting. But yeah, that'll
be the sequel to Fist. The sequel to Fist will be YouTube battles.
Just internet, just blood sports, just everyone.
It'll be the click, right? The mouse click. So I have a question. So you packed it with all of these 80s references. Like there's almost too much to keep up with, but I thought that was interesting because you're a guy from the 80s, and you mentioned that in the film. You're not a 70s guy. You're a guy from the 80s. And there's even a sequence that's like a video game that's in the movie. There's like a Street Fighter type of Nintendo Kung Fu sequence. That was crazy.
Yeah. That was a reference to Mortal Kombat, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Basically, it was like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, those games, which was really like early 90s. I mean, we mixed. My favorite was someone asked me, they're like, "Well, don't you think it's stupid that it's supposed to be set in 84, but you have like pump shoes and a car from the 90s and you have references to the Kardashians?" I'm like, oh my God, please kill yourself. Do you not realize what a comedy is? Like, why do people take this movie so seriously?
Do you think people take it a little bit too seriously?
I really think, you look at IMDb and people's like, like their ranking on it, and like they're like tearing it apart, and like, it's a very polarizing movie. I think it's about, half the audience loves it and the other half hates it. I'm like, how are people taking this so seriously? It must be because my last name is Stone. I'm like, it's gotta be because my last name is Stone. I'm like, my dad's known for serious work. So what the heck? Natural Born Killers is a satire. People don't get satire in America. I don't think satire is really a known thing. Like you look at American movies, I love satire going back to like the French. The French really get satire the best. And also the British to a certain degree. You've got like, you got Oscar Wilde and people like that. But as far as satire in America, they've never done well. I mean, you can literally go from like Network maybe being like the only satire I think that was really successful in American history. Natural Born Killers to a degree, but that was more for the shock value of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the movie is obviously comedy. Like, I mean, like to the people who don't get that, whoever's like, why is that part trying to be funny? I just like, are you even a human when you like, there's sometimes I don't get when people are watching something and they don't get it, especially when you're trying to be funny. When you're trying to be funny, in my opinion, everything is open. You could like, and then people take certain things too seriously, or they'll be offended at something and then not offended at something else. It's like they're choosing what to be offended. It's either everything's okay or nothing's okay, in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, look, we knew when we made this, we're like, this is an anti-PC movie.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with that implication. I mean, who knows what the implication is nowadays, especially, like I said, people saying this movie's toxic, it's poisonous because it's showing like, macho male chauvinism. But we're like in this weird PC world. Yeah. And it's like, but you know what? Donald Trump is blowing everything up. And I love that about him. I'm like, yes, absolutely. We need that. We need to knock people out of their comfort zones because it's obnoxious to live in a world where everything is predictable and you can't say this on TV and you can't trust it because it's Russian propaganda. It's like, enough already. I guess that's my whole life. The last 6 years, I've really been playing this role of like devil's advocate, I guess you could say, whether it's going to Iran and like accepting Islam, working for Russian TV, doing a movie like this. It's just like, pro white male. It's like, I guess I'm just totally against the grain.
You know, it's really funny. My one of my girlfriend's friends were over, and she's younger, right? And he is younger than she is. She had like a bunch of her friends over, and this guy starts talking about because I grew up with like I'm 30 years old, so like I watched sitcoms like Friends, right? When I was younger, and then he's talking about how, and this came out, all these younger people think Friends is like super racist. And he's talking about how Friends is racist, and I'm like, are we watching the exact same show? Like, Friends is racist? When did Friends become racist? Apparently, 5 people who happen to be white who are friends is super racist, and I was just like, wow, okay.
I mean, not in Seattle. It's just normal. I mean, you're talking about like it's the location, or I mean, at the end of the day, I agree. Like, do I think that, from my perspective, should there have been more color? Absolutely. And I mean, I'm somebody that was in the like in high school, all my friends were black kids and Latino kids. Like, basically, I had like that was my crew. So in the '90s, I was listening to hip hop. I was more interested like in that culture than I was with like. When my school was mostly Jewish kids, but let's say like mainstream, like a white culture. I wasn't into rock music. I wasn't into like the Smashing Pumpkins and the Bush and the alternative grunge culture. I was just more into like, hip hop, black culture. And, I'm someone that I believe in diversity. Like I love diversity, but I hate when people dictate it as though it has to be predicated on race, as though like if you show a black man in a position where he's weaker, it's racist. It's like, no, because there are black people that are weaker and there are black people that are stronger. And you don't have to, why does everything have to become a stereotype? In this movie, I'm sure there's going to be people saying like, oh, it's racist because Okinawa Jackson is your sidekick and he's like not a good martial artist. It's like, yeah, he's funny. He's not a good martial artist. He's a comedic sidekick. But we have Taimak, who's also happens to be black, who's like the spiritual guru / like, mystical master in the story. So, we have Professor Griff doing the narrative. And we have Tommy Davidson providing like his comic insights as a prophet, and we have Tiny Lister, who's a Superfly, who's just out of his mind. I mean, and so it's like we have different, it's like that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to make movies or tell stories as art without having to be dictated by stereotypical, constraints. It's like, we have, I love diversity of roles and having opportunity for roles, but not having to feel like you have to make a movie now where it's like there has to be a token white guy, a token black guy, a token Asian Chinese guy or woman, right? And there has to be a gay guy, and there has to be a transvestite. I mean, it's like you can't do it as a token thing. You have to do from a perspective, tell a story, and whatever actor or portrayal fits that part. Wonderful.
Yeah, like don't have the black dude coming in with like a basketball every time. What's going on, guys? And you're just like, okay, why does Tyrone always come in with a basketball? I think there's
well, even the Tony Montana character, which I immediately caught that he's like a obvious kind of reference to Tony Montana and Scarface. I thought that was great, but I mean even that would be almost like over the line, just the very common sort of say hello to my little friend. I mean, this would be viewed as like, breaking the PC.
We have Wraith, who's like not Latin at all, right? He's like
I was going to say
like half Swedish or Norwegian, half Lebanese, or or like a quarter Norwegian, 3/4 Lebanese. Like he's playing the freaking Latino guy in the story. I mean, there were so many racist things as far as like, from a comedic perspective, like we had Higan Machado, who's Brazilian, like a great jiu-jitsu guy. He's playing the big Chinese waiter. So he's him, and he's speaking with like, like a Chinese accent. It's obviously meant to be funny. I mean, there's so many things like that. Or, I mean, you just go through the movie and you're like, we poke fun, I think, at everybody. But again, like in a good-hearted, like this is the best of comedy where you're supposed to kind of deconstruct and play with stereotypes a little bit and get people to, to reflect on stereotypes. Even with women, it's like Anaconda is probably the coolest character in the whole movie. I would say she's the only chick that, kicks butt and doesn't sleep with the fist in the end. All the other women, witches, Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell, which, by the way, was a real thing, as you know, Jay. In the 70s, that was a real deal. The Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell. Like, these ladies were out of their mind. Like, they were like, we're the witches, and we're going to, overthrow the government, cast spells, and that kind of stuff. So, we're drawing upon history and creating that, these characters. And, again, like, this movie it has everything. It has every kind of character you could ask for, I think, just about.
So you've got like a whole bunch of red pill stuff though. Like you've got the Federal Reserve, you got GMOs, you've got Soylent Green, you've got all kinds of awesome messages kind of packed in the background and subtly in the script.
The rent is too damn high.
You even have that, right? That dude. But so I'm curious, like, are the rest of the people on set, because you've got such a big cast, like, is everybody pretty red pilled, or were some of them like, what is this Federal Reserve stuff? Like, what are you talking about?
Well, so like even with Don, I don't know how aware he was as far as like the Federal Reserve before going into the project. Peter Antico, our producer, was like, hey, Federal Reserve, go into detail. Because I think initially I was just saying like, the dollar bills are Fed notes, and right. Basically like we're all enslaved by the Fed. And then Pete gave him his history. He's like, talk about Paul Warburg establishing the Fed in like 1913-14 time period.
Yeah, because that's he says that in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So Don wasn't necessarily up to speed on all this stuff. I don't know that most people were necessarily up to speed. Tommy Davidson came and gave his own dialogue. Everything you see with Tommy Davidson as the prophet was just Tommy like improvising, riffing on whatever it was that like we told him about this movie, and about like the point was just to be like a prophet from 84 about the present day. And he starts talking about, basically like the security state and Obama being like, disappointment, and the fist being the revolutionary symbol and the sign of love and brotherhood and unity. And that was all Tommy's writing.
That's epic. Because I used to love In Living Color. So that's crazy that you've got Tommy Davidson.
No, it's incredible to get him. I mean, he was just like, he was so spot on. And, he's a smart dude. I mean, I think everybody there was like, everyone there was smart and got it to some degree. I just don't know. I can't speak for them. I think they're probably more Republicans than Democrats on our film shoot. And, at the end of the day, I really feel like this is a movie that's going to speak to the middle states and to like the Trump crowd in particular, so-called alt-right, and the guys that really just don't give a damn. They're like, we don't care about political culture, politically correct culture. We want to speak our mind, and go and root for the guy to fight back against the global corporate conspiracy, in a sense. Right. That's our audience, man.
So what do you think about the alt-right, if I may ask?
Well, what is it? I don't know. I mean, this is like, I hate when media brand stuff, it's like the alt-right. I'm like, okay, what is that? The KKK? I don't like the KKK. But you can't put KKK and Alex Jones all in the same camp. That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. Well, that would be beyond. That's like the next level, I guess. That, and I guess like Nazi or whatever you want to say. But I'd say that like the alt-right, and Jay, you can correct me if I mess any of this up. Would be people who believe that like the white birth rates are dropping, and they want to increase the white birth rates. They believe immigration is way too much in the West, and they want to stop that, or at least slow it down. They want to keep and preserve the beliefs of the West and not make it like a multicultural society as much, and bring in other cultures, et cetera, et cetera. Basically keeping the West the way it originally was intended, or whatever, by, in the past.
You mean when the West was wild and there were Native Americans here? No, I'm joking.
Well, no, like right after that. I know there's going to be alt-right people in the chat who are like, fucking Andy, you're fucking it all up. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to abridge it as short as possible. I don't like the term. Like,
I don't know, like, where do I fit? Like, I'm not a liberal. I mean, I'm liberal in my mentality of, I'm very open-minded, and I'm liberal in many things. But at the same time, like, I do agree with conservatives on a lot of values, and a lot of, a lot of what I consider like global corporate conspiracies that don't have any morality or any ethics behind it, or any constitutional basis for it. Then I agree with conservatives on things. Alt-right to me is just like, it's too much of a blanket term. Like you said, like, what you're describing sounds like KKK, neo-Nazi type of thinking, which I certainly don't subscribe to. I don't have, like, at the same time, like, I think that we shouldn't throw out Western history or Western civilization just so we can have multicultural studies, which I'm all for. Like I think we have to have multicultural studies, but we shouldn't change history or erase history as a result. Like we can't pretend like Robert E. Lee wasn't a great general just because we don't like his politics. You know, like things like this. I think we have to be honest about history and recognize, yes, there's been a lot of racism in politics. Most of the time, though, the racism stems from fear and ignorance, and also economic agendas and motivations about corporate/financial control systems that are predicated and thrive on creating strife, as they say, divide and conquer, right? If you want to rule an empire, you have to divide people. What's the easiest way to divide people historically has been race, because most people at the level of economics are on the same level. You know, most people are all at the same level of being poor, and only a few people are really in a position of real super wealth and control. Yeah. So what's the best way to divide those people? Race, religion, ethnicity. So I'm never in favor of people using like race, whether they're white, whether they're Asian, whatever it is, to try to like keep something out or to create control structures around it. Because usually we're mostly in the same boat here. There's only a few people that are really alien in more ways than one to this planet. Most people are, no matter what your religion, your ethnicity, your color, I can connect to you on an emotional level, on an experiential level. Most of us as humans, we go through the same things and we have the same fundamental ambitions and joys and loves. And so I'm more about unity. I'm more about the brotherhood of mankind, sisterhood of mankind, than I am about like, let's protect the white race here. I'm not worried about the white race. I'm more worried about us as a species surviving.
I just tend to say I'm a traditionalist, which can be a little bit ambiguous, but on the one hand, I don't want to be classed as like a GOP guy, because there's a lot of things that I would question about, say, 9/11 that wouldn't be acceptable amongst that kind of class of people. But at the same time, I think that a lot of groups have been used and have been manufactured. I think Nazism as a historical movement, you can demonstrate that was actually created and funded by corporate banking interests as well. So I don't ascribe to any sort of National Socialism or any modern political movements I reject. I tend to favor just traditional organic societies. But so I don't ascribe to alt-right, in case that, I just want to make that clear. So I'm a traditionalist, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do you think? Why do you think your movie would, like you said, that your movie would sort of be favored by that type of audience, right?
Oh, I'm saying like
I would say even more just conservative or even center. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people like I'm saying, like the Trump crowd, like people that voted for Trump, like the middle states, the people that are tired of getting beaten up by global corporate interests, the guys that actually are saying, look, I'm a man, I want to have my weapons, I want to have my sense of individuality and not be told what's the politically correct thing, or what's the thing, basically being told this is just the way it is, you have to accept the changes we're imposing. It's like, no, people standing up for their traditional rights, values, constitutional liberties. This mentality overall, I think, will resonate. That mentality will resonate with this film. People that are more into we have to get rid of masculinity. All masculinity is toxic. It has to be a transhuman blending of male. What is it called? Lady boy bok choy. It's like a complete merging of the sexes.
The trap no state.
All that type of stuff. Huh?
Yeah, trap no state.
Yeah. Like the idea that just. Many people, I'm sure, from that sort of more liberal mentality might find the fist perverse. On the other hand, if you have a sense of humor, you're going to enjoy the movie. I think you're going to see some aspects of it that you find amusing and kind of diverting from the political tension of the time. The best thing to do, I think, in tough political times is to laugh, right? To just kind of step outside of ourselves for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, do you think, because you said yourself you're more liberal in a lot of ways as well, but do you think, like, the reason a lot of liberals wouldn't like it, that a lot of them are a little bit too sensitive? I mean,
hypersensitivity.
Yeah, like, there's some things I agree with liberals on, but, like, it's just a lot of them. It's like shit. They want to ruin games, movies, comic books now. Just everything's got to be all PC or don't hurt someone's feelings. When did it change? When did we care about a person's feelings? I'm not saying be a dick to like and try to like single people out to be a horrible person. I mean, occasionally you might put something in a comic or a movie that's a bit edgy. When do we care about everyone's feelings? I don't know. It's not really a question as it is just an observation. And
you're talking to somebody who really does care about people's feelings. Actually, I mean, I am offended when I watch certain movies that are just like sadistic in a sense, like people getting off on hurting each other, even like getting off on violence, getting off on, how do you say, like manipulating others. I mean, there's a lot of these things I notice in films that to me are perverse. It's like sex and violence in itself is not perverse. It's just how it's portrayed, right? Yeah, right. There's nothing in this movie, The Fist, I don't think is like, The Fist is not like getting off on like hurting people. It's like he's someone who's fighting his way through a series of confrontations with villains who are, basically are out to get him, or he's, protecting people. But it's not like a Deadpool type of character who I enjoy, but also does kind of strike me as a little bit like there's a bit of a fetish around violence, I find, like in those type of movies. And, the amount of people that get wiped out in the crosshairs of, of a lot of these movies nowadays, it's quite startling. So I think we have like more of a tongue-in-cheek approach to the violence. But, again, coming from someone like my father, who's a veteran of war, who's only done anti-war movies, aside from Scarface, I guess, where like you have a huge body count. But, you look at his movies and it's just like he's really like anti-violence, and he's trying to like show what violence does. Even Natural Born Killers is a satire about it. So I think I come more from that tradition of being like, listen, violence is like a last resort. It's, you deploy it when necessary, but it's not about going out there and just like having gleefully like wiping out hundreds of people or thousands of people in the movie just for the fun of it.
So you're saying that there's way too much like killing in movies, body count?
No, it's not about.
Or maybe people are like desensitized.
Fetish around it. There's like a fetish around like torture porn kind of stuff.
Right.
Like what's it called?
Being shot to death, or
Human Centipede,
and like really enjoying that like shock value about.
Maybe we're just so like. What I was thinking was maybe just we're so desensitized to the violence that you need to just keep upping it. What was that movie that was like literally torture? Hostel. Remember that?
Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't resonate with me. Like I love horror, but I like suspense, and every time someone dies, it's like a shock. I don't see why we need to create like this kind of torture and getting off, basically people getting off on other people suffering and dying.
Eli Roth says that was based on a real story that he heard about people in Indonesia that they'll buy people to kill.
Oh yeah, I believe it, but I couldn't get off on that kind of movie. It's like Human Centipede kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I don't want to watch it. I don't care to see people getting off on it. If you do it in a very serious way, sure, I think that's interesting. But, just morally and like as a soul, it's hard for me to endure. I can't imagine making a movie like that.
The Pentagon, Tavistock, these entities have actually studied how to desensitize through that kind of grotesque or brutality, and it's even been called by some people the theater of brutality. So.
Oh yeah,
it's a great
violence. It goes back to the French Revolution. I mean, the guillotine, the whole idea of like this public displays of violence and how basically you can organize and order people basically through that public display. That's why executions were on display for so long. I mean, Foucault obviously was writing about this, right? Mm-hmm. This whole issue of like discipline and sexuality, and huge connection there too. I mean, again, that's why I say people do get off on violence. I think a lot of the horror crowd really gets off on watching women, basically being inserted with a knife instead of a phallus. It's something really perverse.
Wait, what movie is that?
Every horror film you've ever watched where a woman gets stabbed with a knife is a sort of representation of being penetrated by a man, but the man is basically impotent, so he uses the knife to carve her up instead. It's it's screwy, but that's the whole problem with serial killers, right? They're really screwed up.
Have you ever seen a remake of I Spit on Your Grave?
No, I don't.
That movie is. But here's the thing. Here's the twist. There, like what you're saying is people are dying and people are sort of watching it to get off on it. But it's the fact that the first 45 minutes of the movie is this chick being raped in a cabin. Horrific. Right. It's absolutely disgusting. In fact, I almost turned off the movie. I'm like, what the? And then finally, she fakes her death by jumping off a bridge. And then sort of like, it goes like 3 months later. And the rest of the movie is her killing them one by one in probably the most disgusting fashion. But you're sort of getting off on it because these dudes did such horrible things to her that you're enjoying the slow murder of all of them. Is that different or is that the same? Would you say?
I mean, look, I have to watch.
I really like that movie near the end.
But like, I love a good revenge movie. I'm not someone that advocates for revenge in every sense, but there are definitely contexts. There are situations that deserve revenge. Most murders don't. Most murders, I think, are really just either psychotic or accidental. But definitely, like there are people when they hack up a family with an axe. I'm thinking of this Kevin Cooper case right now because this poor guy Kevin Cooper's on death row in California. He's a black man who was wrongfully convicted for a murder that even the kid that survived it said 3 white men committed. I mean, it's a horrible situation. You can look it up. Kevin Cooper is just a terrible tragedy. But these 3 guys came and hacked up a family with an axe. I mean, those guys, I have no problem with them being slowly tortured to death because that's not a normal murder. That's not even a normal murder. Not to say murder is normal, but come on, like different degrees here, huh?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. See, that's what makes that movie sort of different. That these guys were horrific, and then you sort of rooting for the crazy death, rather than it's like an innocent family who's murdered by an axe wielding maniac, and you're sort of like enjoying the. I guess like people enjoy fear, but I'm like you, sort of in the sense of I prefer tension and like a crazy story rather than just. Here's a guy who's going to murder everyone by the end. Who will survive? Who won't survive? Etc.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror franchise of the 80s. And I love I love a lot of horror movies. I saw a lot. Most are bad, by the way. 90% of horror films suck. But there's 10% are jewels, right? Nightmare on Elm Street I love because here's Freddy Krueger, who really is a real demon, I believe. I've dreamt about him. I think he's a real guy. It's not a real guy. He's like a real demon that interferes with our sleep realms. And I think this is brilliant because, it's like the suspense of it, the reality of our sleep. We can't escape our dreams, right? And who really controls them? And ultimately, how do they overcome it? They overcome it by asserting control of their dreams and not being afraid anymore. That's really empowering.
It's very creative, too. It's not just a dude with a knife killing everyone. But that's why I like Scream as well, because Scream was sort of like a parody on the slasher genre. Yeah.
Oh, postmodern.
Pure.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
As a kid, I used to not be able to handle horror at all as a kid. And my girlfriend's right now in the chat telling people I won't watch Leatherface with her, because I am kind of.
That's a tough one. Talk about porn. Talk about torture porn, man. Oof. That's tough.
That's tough. She's like, she hates horror. She's like, I want to watch that. I'm like, fine, I guess. But yeah, no. Like,
speaking of when I first when I met my girlfriend, she was we were talking about being intimate and whatnot. And I had a Scream mask just as a joke, and I told her, I was like, well, when we get intimate, my thing is I do like to wear a Scream mask. I was totally screwing around, but it kind of freaked her out.
And there goes your sex life.
Jesus Christ. Would you wear that, though, if she asked you? What if that was like...
What if she...
Yeah, what if that was like, oh, shit, really, you too? I didn't want to say anything.
I would say, like, we both need to wear a Scream mask. Like, we'll have an Eyes Wide Shut party with Scream masks.
I'm going to have to find the tickets for those places, the Eyes Wide Shut parties. That'd be fun. You, Jay, we'll figure it out together, right?
You'll find it online. I'm blanking on the name of it. This is stuff you can literally just buy tickets. It's like $500 to like buy a ticket, and you can watch. and then you can only watch though, and then like you can pay more as you go. And I'm
Oh,
sure if you do
there's
if you have the
tears.
right connections, you can get the entree to the back rooms.
There's only tears, and you have to move up from there.
It's like Patreon. There's tears.
It's like the theater, man. It's like the opera. You gotta pay extra for the front row.
Oh, that's absolutely hilarious. Well, we don't want to keep you, but thank you so much, Sean, for being on the show, dude. We really
Yeah, it's a
appreciate
pleasure.
it. I have your links down there. Thank you for talking about that. And yeah, man. Hope to talk.
I
Yeah,
always
so
wonder
go ahead.
when I do these things. I just wonder, is it the three of us talking, or is someone actually listening to this?
Oh, we have people watching right now. We have people watching right now. Yeah, yeah. But so it's all
Crazy.
live. Everything that you've said is now recorded and put
We're
on the
just
internet.
crazy. We're just talking to ourselves here.
Yeah, yeah. I try to make it seem more like chill than formal and edited all and everything. Yeah, it's just
No
a talk
guests, no
basically.
questions,
Yeah.
no guest questions from your fans.
Let
There
me
were a
see
few.
anyone. Well, go ahead.
You guys just ignored them. You ignored your fans' questions, man. That's not
No,
good business.
no, they're all just friggin' ranting in the chat. But okay, how about this? I could say if anyone has any questions right now, I will ask. You heard the man. We could do another 5 minutes and see, but it's the internet, so they're gonna be intense. There's a little lag here, so wait 1 second, and we'll head into questions. Let's see. So
we
we
got-
have questions. Yes, they're all excited right now. Answer mine. Okay. Let me start with one here. David Hume asks. So what
David
do you?
who?
No, his name is
Is he like,
David
who's on-
Hume.
Who's on first?
Oh well, no, I'm just I'm just gonna read these in order here. David Hume asks. So what does he think about biological determinism and its potential implications in the maldistribution of resources between human groups?
Restate the question. Has to do with is this having to affect my sperm count, or what are we drinking here?
Okay, here,
What Kool-Aid?
I'm gonna repeat. And Jay, if you want to sum it up a little bit, this is a toughie. Ask what he thinks of biological determinism and its potential implications in the maldistribution of resources between human groups.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm not going to do a doctoral thesis right now. It's the end of the hour. You could have asked me 30 minutes ago, but this is too late to get into biological determinism. First, I got to define biological determinism, and no, we're not going to
Okay,
do
now-
it. It's a great question. That's like a thesis question, man. You
It's
write like a
intense.
paper on that.
Um,
We'll talk about it another time. Next time, we'll set a whole hour just to that conversation.
uh,
First, defining the terms.
these get,
and
yeah,
what we're
these get a
referring
little
to.
bit intense here. Martin Laxanjon, he says, how can Sean reconcile being a religious Muslim while also being ethnically Jewish?
Because Muslims are Jews. That's the basic answer that people don't realize.
Uh,
They're just we're all just cousins here, We believe in the same one God.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
stop arguing over like petty differences and BS. It's the whole point. The empires want you divided so that you think in binary terms. Us versus them, my team versus your team. It's nonsense.
Mhm. Everyone right now is asking, what's your opinion on Jewish people running Hollywood?
Well, I'm ethnically quarter Jewish, so I mean, does that make me I should be running Hollywood? Look, I think that the Jews are extremely successful people. If we look across the world, if we look at the overall, even the success of Israel as a nation, you have to credit the fact that have they been resourceful? Have they probably stuck together as a group to some degree in different civilizations where they've lived? In Hollywood, I don't. To me, it boggles my mind. Like, how is it that these Jewish refugees from Eastern Europe started the Hollywood system. It's remarkable. I don't quite understand how that worked. I'm sure, who, in terms of the financing behind it and the inspiration and whatnot, I'm sure there's a lot more to the picture that we don't realize. Mm-hmm. But that said, I'm just looking to the future. I'm saying that there might be more Jewish influence in Hollywood, as has been documented from everything from studio executives and agents and whatnot, and financiers. But I don't think it's that simple. It's not just like, oh, the Jews run Hollywood. No, it's just you have a very creative people that also tend to be a little insulated, and they are, there are many Jews that are also opposed to each other, by the way, ideologically. And they have an influence here in Hollywood. But I think the world is global, and I look to the future and say, how do we as a human race cooperate, tell stories that are going to be global in implication, realize that the markets are everywhere from Africa to the Middle East to Asia, and it doesn't really matter to tell stories just for America anymore and just assume that America is going to lead the way as far as Hollywood is concerned. I look more to global stories and national cinemas, and cinemas are cropping up all over the world, and China's the biggest market in the world, and it's not run by Jews. So we got to get past this certain I would say stereotypes and predispositions and assumptions about how media functions going forward.
DFC asks, what do you think about the Cosby trial?
The Cosby Show? I don't know the Cosby
trial.
Show.
The trial.
I know the Cosby Show. I don't know the Cosby trial. I know the Cosby Show. So I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know what to say because I can't really weigh in on a case that's active. I mean, if he was in rape these women, then obviously it's a crime, and it's sad to see someone who was so admired and so influential for a generation of especially for African Americans, in this situation. I would wish it wasn't true. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that it is. I think many entertainers take advantage of their power. So anyway, I can't really weigh in either way.
All right, cool. There seems to be. I'm pretty sure I went over all the questions there. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, man. But thanks for being on the show. Yeah, they asked some pretty tough questions. It wasn't going to be very simple ones. That's why they go really deep.
I like tough questions.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Well, it was fun to talk to you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, you guys got it.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, man. All right, we'll talk soon, bud.
Sounds good. Be good.
All right. Peace.
Later.
You too.